Hello everyone, how are you doing? Thank you very much for popping by. Well, a lot's happening, isn't it, in Watchtower land? Just for you, in case you're not up with the story, you'll see things referred to either as the Palmer case, and you'll be hearing about Faithleaks. Faithleaks is a new organization started by the Mormon Leaks people who were leaking important documents about obviously the Mormon church, and it was asked that that be done about all other religions basically. And the first lot of papers they have are about the Jehovah's Witnesses, and there are more to come. They do have more to come. So this particular gizmodo on this site, you can see gizmodo.com. Jennings Brown put this up yesterday, does go into detail about the documents. Now you can download them and see them for yourself. Some are official typed letters back and forth between headquarters and the Palmer congregation elders. Others are handwritten notes. Some seem to be by elders who have struggle with writing. I seem to be struggling with talking today. Again, others, you see the elders do want to help and have a lot of concerns and worries. You see a lot of different aspects in them, so do have a look yourself. The names are redacted to protect the grown-up victims, but they have been proven to be true. So it's not, oh, that they're just made up. No. So if you can see here, 69 pages of documents, repeated sexual assault by one of the leaders. Okay, interviews, detailed notes you can see. This outside person uses the word horrific. And that's interesting. We need to know what someone outside the Jehovah's Witness experience, how they regard this setup. 33 documents provide a staggering play-by-play of how the Watchtower Tract and Bible Society, the parent corporation and governing body for the Jehovah's Witnesses, well, they have many corporations and legal entities, often simply referred to as the Watchtower, handled the case internally over the course of nearly a decade, playing, here it's important, therapist, prosecutor, jury and judge, and the lengths to which they went to keep these accusations away from, quote, worldly court of law. 1999, a committee of Jehovah's Witness elders, I've seen these the documents myself, found allegations from two women that their father had sexually abused them to be credible, yet held off. So sorry, that's the committee found the accusations credible, yet held off on forming an internal judicial committee to take their own form of judicial action against the alleged abuser because one of the daughters was not willing to face the father and formally make the accusations against him, as judicial committee policy requires. Once she went through the process years later, a spiritually guided trial was held, and he was disfellowshipped. However, a year later, he was reinstated. Documents show that Jehovah's Witnesses leaders cast shade on one accuser and her husband for trying to take this matter to secular law enforcement. One aspect I found particularly very sad was how they would not go forward with procedures because one of the daughters was just too terrified to engage with her abuser. Common sense, isn't it? I'm just sorry, I'm so upset and angry. It's common sense. Come on, everyone. So that they talk about the history of Mormon leaks now, how it was they were asked to then look at other denominations. So Faithleaks was born, and thank you very much to those people. Essentially, McKnight believes that church members, I'm reading again, should know what their tithing and donation money are going to, and if it's being used to quietly settle sexual abuse allegations out of court, which it certainly is in the case of Jehovah's Witnesses and other religions as well. But the Jehovah's Witnesses are keeping it quieter, plus they have such a grip on their adherents that adherents will not look in mainstream news. If there's any bit of news that comes up, any TV program, something in a newspaper, someone says something to them at work, they are trained to shut down and not listen, because that's the devil talking. It's the devil that's putting these papers out now. Did you know? Well, then who wrote the papers? Did the devil write the papers? If you say the devil is putting these papers out for human view, well, the trouble is that these papers exist in the first place, and these crimes exist in the first place. Every organisation, says McKnight speaking, whether it's religious or not, is going to have people who do bad things, McKnight said. So the mere fact that there may exist some sort of sexual abuse in a church is not automatically a condemnation of that organisation. That's what the XJW community is saying as well. He's saying now what it boils down to is how they handle it. Yes, these, I can't think of the word for them, people go in, evil people will go and prey on the innocent and the open. That is going to happen everywhere. But how are you handling it? That is the big question. With that mission in mind, the report says it seems fitting that the first major leak that came to them was from Watchtower. They go into the 4,000 a day fines. Reveal News is very good on all that. Do look at Reveal. So the problem in San Diego. So going into the history of that, which I hope people are familiar with. If not, look it up. But you've got Lopez's attorney, that's the victim, Owen Zolkin, who's well known for taking on Watchtower, and Campos was the abuser, or I think he's classed as alleged abuser at this stage. But yeah, it's got all that in. So today, Faithleaks, that was Tuesday, has released a small portion of what is presumably in that massive collection. That's the collection of documents being held back from the San Diego court. Several documents that show years of investigations and deliberations into a local leader who was alleged to have physically and sexually assaulted his two young daughters and another girl in the 70s and 80s. In this trove of documents, the first ever leaked by Faithleaks, the organisation has censored all names out of respect for the privacy of the women, now adults, who brought forth their accounts of sexual assault. Gizmodo viewed unredacted versions of the documents and was able to confirm with the alleged abuser at the centre of these documents that he was the focus of internal investigations within the Jehovah's Witnesses organisation. Okay? So for all the apologists who want to say, oh, but no, it's made up. No, it has been confirmed. It begins with a 1999 letter written to Watchtower from 3 elders in the Palmer Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses of Brimfield, Massachusetts, about their investigation into the accusations. They interviewed both daughters, then in their 20s and 30s, looking specifically to determine whether their accounts of assault and molestation were uncovered repressed memories or not. So the elders were looking at whether these were uncovered repressed memories or not. Well, I didn't know that elders were psychologists who specialised in trauma. Did you? I didn't know that at all. It's going to make you look at the person washing your windows with a in a renewed light, isn't it? Now that some of the abuse has gone into in the documents, of course, and it's very sad. It's so sad that you're going to feel so sad if you look at it and see what happened. One daughter spoke of being physically abused for years and sexually abused for months, beginning when she was 5 years old. In her statement, she alleged that her father repeatedly touched her genitals and examined her vagina, and she'd have to say this to men. I wouldn't want to say this to 3 blooming men. They'll probably have a certain age, and she'd be in her 20s saying this for the first time. I couldn't have done that if I were her. That's terrible. You can't do that. It's hard enough for someone to talk to a professional about what happened. You can't expect someone to talk about what happened, and it was horrible what happened to her. It was absolutely horrible, and it was sick. It was it was contained in this very sort of sick package of accusations against her at the time when she was 5, that she was supposed to have been doing something wrong when she was 5, so therefore this treatment was happening. Later documents show that the accuser admitted to church officials that he tied his young daughter to her bed in order to inspect her vagina for signs of masturbation. Ridiculous, isn't it? Stupid, stupid man. The letter also describes an interview with the younger daughter whose alleged experiences included being molested by her father as early as the age of 3 and 4 years of continued rape beginning at the age of 8, according to the memo. She described that her father would sit on the bed afterward and cry as he prayed with her. The elders wrote she was told by her father that if she ever told her mother or her sister that someone would get hurt. And believe you me, he really demonstrated what danger they were in to this poor girl. He cut off the arms of her doll, saying that this is what would happen to her family if she told. The elders determined that the accusers were both quite rational and remarked it certainly appears that these were real events. It did not seem that they had conferred together on their quote stories. The men acknowledged that the daughters expressed concerns for any contact their father may have with any children. And anyone knows, like when you've suffered like that and have been abused, you are going to worry about that person still on the loose. What the hell are they doing? Have they got access to other children? Keep other children safe. Despite believing that the stories were credible and hearing both accusers express strong concern for the harm that their father could cause, the elders decided they couldn't take the issue to an internal judicial committee. You think of the stupid, inane things that go to a judicial committee. Stupid, petty little things. And this one couldn't. And this was the excuse for this was because one of the daughters was not emotionally prepared to defend herself before her father, the alleged abuser. Well, of course she couldn't. Use your common sense. In order for a case to be pursued judicially within the Jehovah's Witness Church, an accuser has to confront and charge their alleged abuser. Well, that's there's been many videos, many things written about why biblically one can say the opposite to that. Rubbish. However, the information was enough to justify stripping the alleged abuser from his duties as a ministerial servant. Ooh, big. Well, that's really going to help, isn't it? A position that assists the elders similar to a deacon in the Catholic Church, though he remained in the congregation. Handwritten notes from April 2003 show that the husband of the younger accuser told elders that she was still not ready to confront her alleged abuser face to face so that the case could go through the church's judicial process at that time. You know, you're putting people in a dangerous position. You're re-traumatizing them. They can't just go and do this. They need professional help, probably. It can put them in a real suicidal spiral. State police, though, were investigating the alleged abuser as a suspect in an abuse case. The person writing the notes wrote, "Probe the state police thing," seemingly concerned that the secular law enforcement would get involved with a church affair. It's not a church affair. However, the daughter was ready to officially charge her father within the Jehovah's Witnesses system over the phone with the elders listening. That phone charge led to a judicial hearing on May 2003, the schedule of which is included in the documents and reads like something out of The Handmaid's Tale. I haven't investigated The Handmaid's Tale yet. I'll have to look at that. Read Deuteronomy 19:15, present details of testimony of witnesses one at a time, guilt established, reprove scripturally, dismiss and determine repentance. The outcome is not explicitly stated in the documents, but later memo suggests that this hearing led to the alleged abuser's disfellowship, an action that is similar to excommunication, because he admitted to the allegations, examining his older daughter for signs of masturbation when she was a child, you sicko. A confidential memo written by 3 overseers, regional leaders who govern multiple congregations and are appointed by the governing body of Watchtower, in 2004 describes an incident in which police showed up to a church building because one of the accusers and the alleged abuser were both present, despite the accuser having been granted a restraining order against her father. The accuser's husband, who was an elder, made the call to police. The memo seriously questions the accuser's husband's arbitrary action. Here we go. Arbitrary action of bypassing theocratic organization because of his personal feelings, and considering the above circumstances surrounding this matter, his qualifications as an elder. Well, we know that back channel, this is exactly how Watchtower thinks and acts. The general people generally in the congregation and women who are not allowed to be privy to any of this will think, oh no, an elder, if that, and I've seen it written this week in comments from JW apologists. Oh well, an elder will go themselves to the police and report. An elder can do that. Oh, they can do it, but not without serious consequences. And look what happened here. We're talking about someone who's already been subject to a restraining order. So the accuser's husband acts in line with the law? Oh no, we have to relook at his qualifications as an elder because he'd bypassed theocratic organization. Can you not see? Can you not see? The memo writers seem to show more concern for the alleged abuser than the accuser and her husband. Where have we heard that before? Where have we heard that before? It's the same story over and over. Quote, no doubt the alleged abuser was publicly humiliated by the manner of his arrest. Widdoms. Do you know what? When you're 5 years old and your father's inspecting your genitals to see if you've been masturbating and does that every single day, do you think that's not humiliating? It's beyond humiliating. That's damaging. That's distressing. It's dangerous. Can affect the entire well-being of that child for the rest of their life. Oh, but this poor man, he was humiliated. Well, I tell you what, son, don't damn well sexually molest your child, then you won't be humiliated in the future. Got it? Right. I've gotten a bit angry, sorry. Another memo written by an overseer shows that a reinstatement committee met a few months later to discuss whether the alleged abuser's disfellowship should be reversed. They chose only to focus on the accusations of the older daughter, who reported that the alleged abuser had inspected her for signs of masturbation. The reinstatement committee noted that the alleged abuser displayed considerable amount of remorse over his actions, because he'd been found out, towards that daughter. According to the report, the alleged abuser told the committee that, in his opinion, his daughter has been damaged. You bet it. You bet she has, mate. And his belief that his actions had adversely affected how she could relate to her husband. Well, son, I hope you really, really saw it and it wasn't just lip service. I really hope you really saw it from your heart. As for the younger daughter, who had reported being raped by her father, her charges, which were made over the phone, were deemed inadequate by the reinstatement committee. Perhaps he should have smoked a cigarette. Then perhaps they could have really had a go at him like they like to. Quote, since the daughters filed a restraining order on her father and was willing to face him in a worldly court of law, it was felt that she should be willing to talk with the committee. The reinstatement committee wrote, ha ha ha. Gizmodo was not able to locate a record of the legal proceedings by the time of publication. So since the daughter was able to speak to trained professionals, then she should be able to speak to untrained cleaners who really had not protected her rights and who she had, I would imagine, have little faith in. That same month, the leader wrote a memo addressed to one of a member of the reinstatement committee. The memo included an interview with another woman who, oh dear, accused the alleged abuser of raping her when she was a child years earlier. So that's the trouble with child molestation like that. It's a repeat offending case. For someone just to do it with one child is rare. And that's why it's important to stop them. Though she stood by her claims, the memos about the investigation show that Jehovah's Witnesses elders doubted. What? I didn't read this bit. This has really upset me. Well, hang on, I'm going to answer that phone. I had missed this part of the documents. Furious. So, okay, so this other woman who came forward saying she'd been raped as a child years earlier. The memos about the investigation show that Jehovah's Witnesses elders doubted the validity of her statement, partially because she said her eyes were closed when he was sexually assaulting her. What are you going to do? How are you going to cope as an adult, let alone a child, if you're being raped? There are many, many ways, different ways, and different people are going to react. One way to cope is to close your eyes, try and shut it out and disappear elsewhere. A good way of disappearing, disassociating from that trauma is to close your eyes and take your mind elsewhere. To see what is happening would be too much. So to me, having her eyes closed actually validates her claim. What do they expect someone to do? Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, you're away from me. Hang on a minute while I put my contact lenses in. Damn fools. The daughter who alleged that her father raped her made yet another official statement against him within the church in October 2004. In 2005, a committee determined that the alleged abuser could no longer perform duties like handling audio equipment or literature, but his heart was broken. He was allowed to remain in the congregation. Watchtower did not respond to request for comment on these documents. They never do. They are cowards. It's all right for them to close their eyes when someone wafts a document in front of them and goes, what the hell is this? Oh, they can close their eyes, but be a child being raped, you close your eyes, you're not credible anymore. God. Watchtower did not answer questions about whether this information is included in the trove of documents that the Watchtower is withholding from courts at the cost of $4,000 a day, and if the documents show that the Watchtower is protecting accused child sexual assaulters. This is one case. This is one case of how many have we heard now? How many times have we heard this story? And how many more are hidden in these documents? And if they're not hidden in there, why are Watchtower paying $4,000 a day of other people's money to keep them quiet? The daughters chose not to comment for this story. Gizmodo asked the alleged abuser if there was an internal Jehovah's Witness investigation into the accusations of sexual assault against him. He initially denied knowing about it, but once provided with more details, he confirmed that he was aware of an internal investigation into him with the Jehovah's Witness Church, but claimed that the allegations were untrue. Yeah, people just randomly invent these things. The thing is with sexual abuse, you can't, you can't invent things like that. Who can invent that? Oh, when I was 5, someone did that. Like, how is that going to come into your brain? Unless some sicko did it. How can you invent that? He told Gizmodo, all I'm going to tell you is this, it's been settled in court. The allegations are untrue. Gizmodo did not get the opportunity to ask him about his own admission, mentioned in one document, yeah, that's true, that he had tied down one of his daughters and inspected her for signs of masturbation. If you're prepared to do that, what else are you going to do? And how strange, 2 other people came forward and said things. I mean, just in quotes to do that. You're some kind of sicko. Faithleaks plans to release more documents pertaining to the Jehovah's Witnesses authorities' handling of other alleged sexual misconduct in the upcoming weeks. Well, I'm sorry if I wasn't As community, oh, there are responses. I did mean to just dispassionately tell you the reports, but I can't. I got too angry. We should all be angry. We should be as angry as hell. And use that anger to act. Oh, I'm thinking of so many bad words. I'm trying to say it because I know some of you are, you have your standards, and I don't kind of want to put you off by saying words that I think these men's too good a word for them are. Out of respect of you, I'm not saying the words, but I'm damn well thinking them. Thanks for listening. Please keep abreast of this. Thank you. Bye.